Okay, this is going to be the review for the pre-AP supplement. So you're going to have 10 extra questions, and I have 6 of them on here. They will look exactly like these. The ones that aren't on this review are pretty easy. So if you do this review, you should be able to get a good grade on it. So one says the graph of the function f is shown above. For which values of x is f of x not negative? So we know x means x. F of x is the same thing as y. And not negative is the same thing as positive. So basically, we're just looking for all of the y values that are positive. So that means we don't need any of this down here because that's where the y values are negative. So we need to figure out what x values this is where it's positive. So as we can see, this one starts at -4. So from -4, and we're dealing with the x value, so I put an x, and then all the way up to positive. Oh, no, just kidding, not positive, -1. So from -4 to -1, that is where our y's are positive. And that's how you would do number 1. Just watch out when it says not negative, that just means positive. Number 2, if f of 2 equals 12 and f of x equals -4x plus a, what is the value of a? So y'all had this on one of your tests. Whatever's in the parentheses is the same as your x value. Whatever it's equal to is the same as f of x. So I'm just going to take this equation and replace f of x with 12, and then replace the x with a 2. And then we just simplify this and solve for a. So I get 12 equals -8 plus a. And then to solve for a, I need to get rid of this -8. So I add 8 to both sides. So 20 equals a. And that's all you have to do for that one. That's the answer. Okay, now that that's over. Number 3 says, given the system of linear equations below, a is a real number. If the system has no solution, what is the value of a? So remember, no solution is when our variables canceled out and you were left with 2 numbers that weren't equal to each other. So we're going to try to solve this system using substitution like we learned before, which means I'm going to take this right here, and since it's y equals, I'm going to replace the y with that value. So it'd be 2x minus 3, replace the y with ax plus 5 equals 6. So I distribute and get 2x. Now -3 times ax is -3x times a plus 5, oh wait, not plus, minus 15 equals 6. So now, since this is 2x minus 3xa, we want this to cancel out so we have no variables left. So we're going to see what this a value has to equal so that 2x and 3xa are the same thing, because that would get rid of our variables, which is what we want. So I'm going to do 2x equals 3xa. Now I need to solve this for a, so all this is multiplied, which means I have to divide by 3x on both sides. So then that will all cancel out. 2x divided by 3x, the x's cancel out, so I get 2/3 equals a. So that would be our answer, but we're going to check this and plug it in to make sure that we get something that is no solution. So if I put a equals 2/3, that would be 2/3 x plus 5. Now we're just going to do our normal way to make sure this all works out. This is optional, just to check your answer. So 2x minus 3 times 2/3 x plus 5 equals 6. So we're hoping that this makes the x's cancel out and we are left with just two numbers that are not equal. So I would distribute and get 2x negative 3 times 2/3 is negative 2x plus 5 equals 6. So 2x minus 2x, that becomes a 0. We're left with 5 equals 6, which would be no solution. So that's what we wanted. That one is a lot of work, but if you follow these steps, it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, number 4 says the x-intercept of a function, f of x equals 3/4 x minus 2, lies between which two integers? So integers, that just means numbers. What two numbers? And the x-intercept is when y is 0. And we know that f of x is the same thing as y. So we're going to have 0 equals 3/4 x minus 2. We're going to solve this for x to figure out what our x-intercept is. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So 2 equals 3/4 x. Now to get rid of 3/4, you multiply by the reciprocal, so we'd multiply by 4/3. So that would cancel out, and that would cancel out. Multiply by 4/3 on that side as well. So 4 times 2 is 8. Sorry. So 4 times 2 is 8 over 3, since that's a 1 there, equals x. So we need to figure out what two numbers does 8/3 fall between. So 8/3 is the same thing as 2 and 2/3. So it falls between 2 and 3. So basically, get an answer for x, then you just have to figure out which two numbers it's between. So falls between 2 and 3 would be our answer. Five says the nth term of a sequence is defined to be 4n plus 4. The 32nd term is how much less than the 37th term? So we have to find both these terms. So 32, I would just have to replace my n here with 32. So it'd be 4 times 32 plus 4. Now if I put that in my calculator, 4 times 32 is 128 plus 4. So my 32nd term is 132. Now 37, do the same thing except I replace n with 37. So 37 times 4 is 148 plus 4. So that would be 152. Now, how much less? So 132 is how much less than 152? So I would do 152 minus 132, and we get 20. And that is our answer. Now this last one says a line passing through A8 and 1820 is perpendicular through a line of these points. What is the value of A? So we're going to have to find the slope for each of these. So I'm going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2, and x1, y1, x2, y2. So what we're going to do is take this, find the slope, so 20 minus 18 over 8 minus a. I did that wrong. Sorry, that would be 20 minus 8 over 18 minus a. So 20 minus 8 is 12. And then 18 minus a, we don't know what that is. But it's going to be perpendicular of a line through this. So a normal slope here would be negative 10 minus a over 8 minus negative 4. So this is going to become negative 10 minus a will stay the same. 8 minus 4 becomes plus. So since this slope needs to be perpendicular, remember perpendicular means you flip it and you change the sign. So we're going to take this fraction here, we're going to flip it. So it's 12 over negative 10 minus a. So that's the flip part of it. Now I have to make this a negative. So I'm going to multiply this bottom by a negative 1. Notice I didn't multiply the top by a negative 1 because I want these to stay the same. So since these two are the same, we don't have to worry about that anymore. All we're going to do is make these two bottom ones the same. So it's 18 minus a equals, now let's go ahead and multiply this negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 10, negative 1 times negative a. Negative times a negative becomes positive. Negative times a negative becomes positive. So now I'll get my variables to the same side. So plus a, which is 18, equals 10 plus 2a. Then I subtract 10. So 8 equals 2a. And when we divide that by 2, we get 4 equals a. Now, I know this is a lot of work, but one thing that you could do, you're going to have answer choices. So if you plugged in each of the answer choices for a and see which one gives you opposite reciprocals as your slopes, that will give you the answer instead of doing all of this. So either way that you'd like better will work. And that is the whole pre-AP review.